coming back, starting Season 4 of Wheel of SNES. For you guys that don't know, there is 700 plus games on the Super Nintendo, and everybody loves playing the cool games. We don't get to choose our games. We let a randomizer wheel choose our games each week. We've had some really good games that we've never heard of, and ones that we have heard of. We've had really bad games that we've never heard of, and that we have heard of. So, basically what we do is we do 10 games each season, and then we rank them against each other until we have ranked the entire Super Nintendo library. So, how you feel about wrapping up Season 3, coming into Season 4, Josh?
Season 3 was a solid one, and so far, starting off Season 4, I mean...
So on Season 4, the game that the wheel gave us, we live by the wheel, we die by the wheel. What we got was a game called Gods. I'd never heard of it.
Never heard of it either.
I think by the video when we drew it, you could kind of hear the, that was kind of like, I didn't know really what to think. Judging by the front of the box, it kind of looks like a little bit of an arcade playing game, but that's, a little deceiving. But we can jump right in. You want to hear what the back of the box has to say to get us all hopped up for Gods?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, the back of the box is a little strange because it's actually a whited out box. Instead of the typical black background with colored font or white font, it is a white box on a black background with pink font or purple font. So it says Gods, a mythical battle for the ultimate prize, immortality. Pretty solid right there.
Pretty solid.
In a city of doom and despair, lost in the annals of time, there awaits for one fearless soul the prize humanity has eternally sought, immortality. You are Hercules, the unconquered, the only warrior who can challenge the city of the gods, and you have the chance to achieve this prize. But immortality does not come cheaply. At every level controlled by 4 hideous guardians, lunatic beasts, attack again. The pursuit is relentless as they conspire to steal your weapons, your treasures, and your very life. And then we got 4 bullet points. One says use the 15 weapons and 20 potions you find as you explore every level of 12 different worlds. You utilize teleports, trapdoors, and moving blocks to outrun and outwit your opponents. Solve puzzles, discover clues, explore hidden rooms, and avoid traps as you seek your goal. And secure the secret of immortality and return to Mount Olympus to take your place among the ranks of gods.
Bum, bum, bum.
So it kind of just tells you, hey, you're Hercules and you're wanting immortality. There's a little more of that when we get through some of the details here. We will come in and talk a little bit about the plot. So this game was released on a ton of systems, Josh. I've just put it was released in 91 and 92, even though I believe the Super Nintendo release was 92. There was so many freaking releases. It's like, okay, yeah, it's all within a year of each other.
Yeah.
So you tell me what was the first system. I think when you seen it, you said you knew one of the systems this was released for.
It was Amiga. It just had that feel.
When we were in... Season 1, we drew like 3 Amiga games, like within like the first 4 or 5.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
So this was released for the Amiga, the Atari ST Archimedes, the MS-DOS. I can't remember if PC-98. I have no idea what the hell PC-98 is. I mean, I guess that's just a regular PC. Genesis, the TurboGrafx CD, and Super Nintendo. It did, I think, see where there may have been a couple copies got out, but I do think they ended up scrapping like the TurboGrafx CD version and stuff. But they were developed by Bitmap Brothers. So I was kind of looking because that sounds...
It sounds familiar.
It does, and it rolls off the tongue. And I think that's really what it is. They did some PC games, Atari ST, and it's really Amiga and Atari ST that I've seen. There wasn't any real games. I mean, they're probably... I can't even remember what the most famous one was, but it didn't really...
It wasn't
like, the release, like, Mega Man Soccer. Or it was a game that you probably hadn't heard of. But Bitmap Brothers developed it. It was published by Mindscape in North America and Renegade Software in Europe. Programmed by Steve Tall. Mark Coleman was the artist, and Nation 12 is the people who composed it.
Okay.
So, kind of a rundown of what this game is I don't know, you probably say it's got a little bit of like hack and slash aspect to it.
Sort of dungeon crawler-ish.
Yeah, that's what I'd say. It's a platformer, but
Yeah.
I would say dungeon crawler. That's a proper way to say that. So, from what I took, from what I've read online, and what the box said, is basically all the Greek gods are up there at the Citadel of Gods, hanging out, chilling, and these 4 other guardians, I guess they've been kicked out, come and take it over. So the gods are offering to any hero who can take care of these guardians and purge them that they can have one wish. And so they make it sound like they're approaching... There's 2 things. The box makes it sound like they're approaching Hercules and saying, hey, you want immortality? Come get it.
Yeah.
I think they're just like, hey, there's one wish, and then Hercules is like, I want immortality. So, I don't know. I feel like there's a little conflicting there.
That's what I was going to say, too. The way the story sounds is it does sound a little conflicted because, I mean, if you watch Hercules, the Disney movie, he wasn't immortal. He earned his immortality by doing a godlike act. So, is that what's that?
I'd say that's probably, you're defeating 4, they call them guardians. But, call them monsters, gods, whatever. So, yeah, I feel like it probably is a godlike act.
Yeah.
To be honest. So,
so is it really a wish? Or is it unlocking his immortality? And then does he get a wish after that?
From what I read, the gods said, whoever can do it, because they make it sound like they throw this at Hercules' feet. I feel like they just say, of course, Hercules is probably the only one that can talk to the gods, but they just say, hey, you can have one wish. I don't know.
True. I mean, I don't know.
So, you are playing across 4 stages, and I'd say they're broke down into what, like 3 stages per main
plus
3 levels per stage, perhaps. That's what, or 3, yeah.
Yeah, it's something like that.
So, basically, you're traveling horizontally and vertically, flipping traps. It has a big puzzle aspect to it. There's a lot of power-ups, point systems. There's a lot goes on with this game, and it is pretty much a freaking dungeon crawler, platformer, hack and slash. Put it all together, and it's not like, you know, your mother's Mario game. It ain't like it just moves from left to right. You go left to right, back to left, up to down, and there are traps. There's fake like stuff that you work toward to think that's going toward the end of the level, and it's duping you. So
literally everywhere.
Yes, and it's not like it is a pretty action-packed game. It's not like you can really just stop and try to figure this out. I mean, if you better stop, you better hit the freaking pause button, you know. Which is kind of like, now that I kind of think about it, a lot of these Mega games that come from a base like that is just normally balls to the wall with freaking enemies.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, look at
non-stop.
Super Putty, Mr. Nuts.
Yeah, non-stop.
I think Kid Cleats is one. I can't even remember all of them. Is there anything you want to add with the startup to this, Joshua?
No, I mean, you pretty much got it spot on, because I mean, I didn't read back of the box or anything like that, and it was, I'm not gonna lie, it was an interesting game. It had an interesting concept, so
it is definitely different, but if I can't really tell you what way it's different, but like there's just something to it. Do you just want to go ahead and jump into the make it and break it of this, Josh?
Let's jump in.
Okay, I'm going to put one thing out there that I did like is from the first level, it has a familiar feel. Like, I feel like this is a game that I've probably played even though I know I haven't. I feel like I've probably played a game very similar to this. I'll go ahead and tell you where it hit me in the nostalgia factor, is I felt like I probably played this in 1998 or 1997 in the computer lab, a game very similar to this. I feel like this was probably on one of those game discs that you used to get where it's like 1,000 games for $9.99, and half the games didn't work and half of them did and sucked, and there was like 5 bangers in there.
5 solid ones for that.
And like Jetpack was be on there, and it's man, it's so fun. I felt like this was one of those games on that disc that was like low key. Once you found it, is probably
pretty solid.
Probably a game that a lot of people hadn't heard of, but if you stumble across it, that was actually serviceable. So even though I know for a fact that I've never played this game prior to this, I felt like it was very similar to games that I had played. Like, I didn't feel out of place on it. So I did like the familiar feel, and that's actually one of my favorite things out of all of it, probably, is I just felt like it was like a fake sense of nostalgia for me.
Yeah, I could see that.
What do you got, Josh?
It was, I was going to say that too. I was going to say that's what I was thinking along the lines of it, because of the fact that it did remind me of some type of, I'm going to call them arcade crawlers, I guess, because just the way it felt and moved, it felt like some type of a really decent cabinet, that arcade cabinet. And I'm not gonna lie, dude, the startup was pretty solid, I thought.
I've got it at my break at the startup. So you tell me what you like about it, and then I'll tell you what I didn't like.
The whole build up to them is, you see Hercules actually suit up. That's about all you get, but besides that, the sound effects wasn't bad for me on the startup.
Well, just getting that, I'll add to it what broke it. Yeah, I was getting ready. That part was kind of cool, and then it just dropped off.
It did. It dropped off hard.
But I think you said one thing that was kind of key, is you said something about it being decent. Like the controls, I thought, were pretty decent, and I think that's a pro.
Yeah.
Like, some games you'd say, the controls are decent, and that's on the negative side. But
they worked on this one.
The game moved a little differently than any other game that we played. The controls worked with it. I'm sure there definitely could have been
improvements.
Yes.
There definitely could have been improvements.
But for what it was, I don't think I ever sat there and said, son of a bitch, I died, because, well, there is one part with the controls that I have in the break it that did affect me. But for the most part, it was completely serviceable for what it was.
Yeah.
Another thing, too, coming off the startup, which is pretty much how I got most of the way through this game. I ain't going to say most of the way, but to get to later levels, you got a freaking password system.
I was about to say password system.
So that was cool. Enjoyed that. Because I felt like the game, when it says there's four levels, 4 acts, 4 stages, I'm like, man, it's going to be a short game. It wasn't really that short. Speedrunners say differently, but I felt like, to me, the game was another thing that I do have. Well, I guess we'll get to that a little bit. I like the sword throwing.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't like it at start. When you start out,
you got that one puny piece of shit.
You ain't even got it. Remember that critter's chasing your ass.
You got to run to it.
And you got to run and get it. Then I'm sitting there just smashing buttons because I ain't reading no instruction book. And then you smoke the guy, but then you get your blade, and then it upgrades as you go, and then you can throw fireballs with it and all that. I don't know, that whole mechanism of sword throwing, I liked. I liked it better than actually having to go and hack and slash, fight sword, like
in Dracula.
I do not want to get any closer to these fuckers than I have to.
Yeah.
I appreciate being able to shoot projectiles.
Yeah. And I will go ahead and say that too with it, is I thought the power scaling of your weapons was pretty adequate, like once you bought a power up, it wasn't immediate that you could see a difference. It was literally, you bought it and you're like, okay, cool, now it's a lot easier for me. If you didn't buy that power up, dude, you were screwed on some of those monsters.
Yeah, and I will tell you one thing when you go into some of the monsters. I'm just going to go ahead and jump into monsters. I like the crazy ass monsters you get. And I'm telling you, those little flying monkey bastards reminded me of fucking Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
But they did have my favorite animation. I loved when you killed them, that skull that kind of flew out of them. But yeah, you kind of get some crazy ass...
some monsters, which was pretty cool.
Even the bosses. like the one in the Labyrinth was like maybe the worst rendition of a Minotaur
Oh,
that I think
100%.
I've ever seen. But you know, I never really got the feel that I was playing a Super Nintendo game. I felt like I was playing a Nintendo game. I felt like I was playing a PC game. So to me,
or a really done arcade cabinet game.
And that is one thing I'm going to put in the Pro too. Was since I turned it on, I was like, man, this looks like a perfect PC, a perfect Nintendo game. Like, you missed
for that era.
Yes, you missed the boat. This should have been for regular Nintendo. And then I played it on Super Nintendo. I'm like, you know what? No, I do think this would have been very well regarded on the NES, and I think they could have very easily put that into that. But it still was pretty good on Super Nintendo. So, you know, when we talk about jumping through here, doing some platforming, some dungeon crawling.
The platforming, I'll go ahead and say this on the platforming. I enjoyed it to a point.
Right.
It wasn't too terrible, but there were some areas that you, like, again, there's a point system. I'm a sucker for it, so I got to go around and collect all the goodies. I got to become a loot goblin at that point.
I think there is a key word on everything.
Pixel perfect.
Decent. I think the platforming was decent.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the controls were decent. The graphics were decent.
Yep.
I don't know that there's any one thing that just stood out to me like, oh my God, I ain't never seen nothing like this and it blew my mind.
Yeah.
But everything was decent.
But back to the platforming side is legitly like you gave me a point system, so now my loot goblin in me has got to collect everything, get as many points as possible.
I do have in here that there is a store which gives you a reason to collect jewels and gives you a reason for the points. So I enjoyed the point system in this. Also, well, the store itself, I've gotten to break it. I feel like it was a mess.
Oh, it was way too much at one time.
But I did appreciate because, like, and this kind of goes into the puzzle aspect of it. If you flipped the wrong switch at the wrong time, you were getting bombarded with freaking monsters. But you were rewarded by drops that they would have.
Or getting a spike up the ass.
Or a punji stick in the booty hole.
Yeah.
The little treasure chest would spit out a ton. So there was incentive to say, oh, hell, I killed that guy over there. Let me go hop over there.
Let's get the blue gem.
To me, if it wasn't, I'd be like, why am I even going to jump over there to get a damn banana? Because there's going to be one of these monkey fuckers that try to come get me. So I'm just going to leave it alone. But I'm like, ooh, there's some of the silver doubloons or whatever it is.
That gold gem.
Yeah. Like, let me hop on over there. Oh, there's a key. There's a pot that I don't know what it's going to do, but I'm going to grab it.
Yeah.
But the score, I did appreciate that they actually incorporated a store for the score.
Yeah.
So there was a reason to go get them.
To actually collect stuff.
And then, to kind of piggyback on go back to the puzzle, when I first seen it and I seen these levers, I was like, this is going to be so freaking lame. This is going to be a game about just fucking with levers the whole time.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And I'm not going to enjoy it. It took me a minute to figure out how to kick the first one, where I had to turn around and give you the little fucking ass shot to do it.
Yeah.
And that was something. That's the God's booty right there.
Dude, he's caked up.
I feel like he's that dude you see on like TikTok. I don't know if the dude's got like butt implants or what, but he's got you could put a beer can on that bastard.
Yeah, he's caked up. That's for sure.
This is the podcast about talking about men's asses, right here.
They put it in the game.
you don't put that in there and not mention it. I'm just saying. But the puzzle part of it was actually it's strangely okay. It was more complex than I thought it was going to be. I just thought it was going to be, oh, wow, I flipped 6 different switches and I got to find one more. And no, it wasn't really like that. It was
if they were right there next to each other, like if there was 3 next to each other.
Oh, you know one of them's going to fuck you.
Yeah, 100%.
But you're like, oh, okay, well, this one, and you pick one. And a trap door opens, and you're like, oh man, I'm moving through this damn level. And you're like going through there, and then next thing you know, you pop up, you feel like you've been fighting for 10 minutes, and you're like, oh, I'm on the other side of the door. I didn't make it any farther. I just took the long way around. I flipped the wrong damn switch. It's like, son of a bitch, you know? And then I was like,
but you got gems for it to spend in the store.
Yes, but I'm like, man, I feel like this is kind of a good game right here.
It was a good game.
I feel like the more you play it, the more the onion. I feel like the more you played it, the stronger it got. When most games lose replayability, I think it got stronger as it went on. Non-stop action in here.
At least they didn't pull the bullshit of spawning enemies and you taking damage beforehand.
They spawned enemies on you, but what I appreciated was, number one, I don't think I found... I'm okay with the little pokey spikes popping up and down. There wasn't no gotcha traps really for me.
There was no instant death trap.
There wasn't shit falling from up above on my head before I could react. And I appreciate that. I'd rather take a quick spawning enemy or like a trapdoor enemy.
And like I said, at least whenever the enemies spawn, they're not spawning off screen and throwing shit at you where you can't dodge it.
And I think a lot of people probably have an issue that you might jump on one part of the screen and that enemy comes at you quick. And it's going to get you.
Oh, yeah.
And then the next time, you're going to be ready for it because it's going to spawn it. Yes, that is it. You're just basically taking notes, putting little earmarks. Here's where a fuckery's about to happen. And when you died, they didn't completely fuck you. You kind of started in the general area.
You did.
And oh, dear God, that was like a problem I think I had with the RoboCop versus Terminator. Is like
back to the beginning, boy.
Man, like, you know.
Back to the beginning of the stage.
And I've only got a couple more here. And I feel like I've probably got more break-its than make-its. But, dude, the level designs were freaking, I put as in air quotes, impressively complex.
They were. I enjoyed them.
They were big fucking levels. They were,
but here's the thing about the levels, though. They were big, they were complicated, but at no point did I say... this level's too long.
Right, and even though I do think I was lost in several levels, I don't think the level lets you completely backtrack to a point where you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like even though there is maybe 4 different paths that you could take, they all get you there.
Yep.
Some might
take a longer way, some might be a shortcut.
So I feel like if I played like level 1... and you played it like on your phone, or we were in separate rooms playing. And I feel like you might be like after 6 minutes, be like, oh yeah, level 1's done. And I think I could be like 18 minutes in being like, where the fuck did you get out of here at?
Yeah.
Like, but for a game that is...
but then that's where you compare your money. I about guarantee you, if it took you 18 minutes, you probably got a lot more money than I did.
Right. But I mean, we're really talking about a game that was developed for a freaking Amiga and Atari ST. And when you look at it, the level design, even though they were big, they were still kind of compact.
Yeah.
Like, you could at least see where you were wanting to go. There was plenty of traps. You never felt like anything was out of place.
Plenty of enemies to fight.
And to be honest about it, even though it wasn't like the crispest bit of what the Super Nintendo could do, the graphics were pretty fucking good too. The music was alright. Yeah. I mean, the music wasn't like banging like...
wasn't like Mega Man music.
I wasn't cranking it up, just head banging to it, but it was okay. And I've only got one more thing, Josh. You got anything you want to add to it?
I did like... I want to bring... You got one more. So, I want... This was a pro... but yet there was a con to it. So I'm going to save that.
Okay, so this is one that I constantly harp on other games and say, this is why you fucked up, AA Ron. And this game went against the grain, and it worked. How many times we're like, we're playing a game, and then they're like, man, this one part was so great. Or this aspect. But like, it's like they try to do too much.
Yeah.
And... this part was just okay. This part sucked. This part was pretty good. And it's like, why don't you focus on one part? This game was a little all over the place. And I feel like I can say the graphics were decent. The gameplay was decent. The controllers was decent.
The music was
decent. And this is one of the few games that I don't think that there was one thing that it did that was completely outstanding. Like, there's not one thing that I can say, this is the key part to this game. But they did a lot of decents. And this is one game that I felt like was pretty good because, like, all the decents work together.
Yeah.
So even though you didn't have anything that was great, you didn't really have nothing that was completely fucked.
Yeah.
And while I'm just like, man, just focus on the good part and make that part better and make your game out of that. This game did the opposite, and I think it worked. And I had to give the tip of the hat to saying, hey, everything was okay.
Yeah.
And it was an okay game.
It was. It really was.
So you hit me with the make it that takes me to a break it.
Okay.
Gosh.
I give them credit about, like I said, whenever you flip switches and everything like that, it tells you, hey, a trap door is unlocked or a door's open or anything like that. Thank you for informing me of that. That's the pro. Here's the con. Why the fuck was that at the bottom of your screen?
Right.
Why couldn't it be up there at the top? Who the hell is looking under there at your inventory bar or anything like that? Because that's where it was. It was literally below your inventory bar, and it was small text too.
I've got heads up display in there.
No, that irritated the fuck out of me.
Okay. This is farther down, but we'll jump into it because you brought it up. Yeah, I was like, my third time playing before I really realized, because I'm like, how the fuck are you supposed to tell what these things are?
Yeah.
Anything.
And it's down at the very bottom.
And I'll just say, it was hard to tell what was going on other than your damn score. It was hard to tell what your fucking life meter was. Like, you're just like, okay, well, we're just going to play until he freaking blows up.
Yeah.
Let me go back to this startup screen.
Go ahead.
Okay, so you're telling me it's a game. When I say Hercules, there's only give me 3 things that pops to your mind.
The Disney movie.
Disney movie, that's fair. Give me another one.
The terrible movie with The Rock. Yeah,
I don't remember that.
Yeah, the good.
I'm thinking but then Kevin Sorbo Hercules.
Yeah, that's a solid one.
I'm thinking some Medusa shit.
Yeah,
that was Hercules, right?
Yeah, some Gorgons.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of stuff. So okay, so you give me this motherfucker putting on this helmet,
and
then he's buckling his
belt, the belt of strength,
and then he's got the sword, and then it's like boom, start game.
Mm-hmm.
Show me with the big slash and a snake head. Give me something.
Yeah, I agree.
And so I felt like you started the truck up, you got it cranked, and then you turned it off. It was like, what the fuck? It's like, I don't want to jump right into this game. Paint me a little bit more of a picture. Yeah. And it really didn't tell you shit for the game. It's just there's a warrior.
Yeah.
I mean, if you didn't.
And you didn't even know it was Hercules.
You didn't know it was fucking Hercules. I don't really know what Hercules looks like other than all the TVs, shit that we've seen growing up. He didn't really look like Hercules to me. He looked more like a Michigan State Spartan is what
I was going to say.
Trojan.
He looked like a Spartan.
Trojan man.
Trojan man.
So, yeah. I mean, I'm not beating it up too bad. And the startup screen wasn't bad, but give me just a little more with it.
Yeah. You put all that effort in that animation, those pictures. Like you said, I mean, I don't even care if you're holding up Medusa's head or something like that. Give me a badass pose with him, swinging a sword or something.
Oh, I've got some good brackets in here. Stupid shit that ain't going to matter to nobody but me. Okay. I've got to tell you, I didn't really like the having to hold up and getting the butt cheeks sent to you while you're trying to flip a switch. Because there's a lot of time that I'm trying to shoot a damn enemy, and he's just over here flexing the cake, as you say. So that part was a little weird. I didn't like that. These go hand in hand. The whole crouching and shooting, I ain't gonna say it sucks. It's non-existent.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not there.
So, you're sitting here, you're throwing, shit's flying over your head. You go to duck, and you're like, I'm sitting here thinking Hercules is doing some kind of little ninja. No. Oh, guess what he did? He picked up the fucking key. Guess what he did? He dropped that fucking key. And so, number one, you couldn't really shoot while you're crouching. And number two, why the fuck is it so difficult to pick up a goddamn item?
Why?
That item pickup was fucking horrible.
Why do you gotta press down to pick it up? And then you also have to hit your attack button to change.
I'm okay.
To be able to stand up with said item.
I sat there for 5 minutes. Oh, I got to bend down? Okay, I can get that. Bend down. Pick it up. Oh, he dropped it. Pick it up. Oh, he dropped it. Pick it up. What the fuck's he doing? He's dropping it. Pick it up. Bang, bang. Okay, that's it. Hey, there's an enemy. Let me duck and shoot. Next thing you know, dropping fucking keys. It's like, God damn it. What the fuck is wrong with it?
And then I'm just going to keep that train going, rolling in. You never could have a full inventory bar. I never did, because every time you fill it up, where were you supposed to go with it?
Well, I did fill my inventory bar up with pots. And that was before I realized that that little tiny fucking text down there kind of told you something about what you were picking up. And I just felt like picking up these pots made a lot of sense. I think it was really just part of a puzzle because a lot of shit came exploding out. But I picked them all up. I had a whole thing of pots. And guess what? When somebody tried to shoot me and I bent down, I dropped every fucking one of them. So I got fucking killed. It pissed me off. Like,
see, I didn't pick up all the pots. I picked up the ones that have a pattern on them because they stood out. And I'm like, I picked up the first one and it said down at the bottom of your fucking screen, it goes, hey, these pots might be used for a puzzle.
So I didn't see that.
I'm like, oh, this one's got blue on it. And then I went around and I go, oh, there's some normal ones. That one's got blue on it. I'm going to pick up the blue one.
Basically, what I did was I was like the dude coming in from Walmart. All the bags wrapped around. Then an enemy tries to throw. I try to throw a knife and I drop everything on the ground. That's exactly what fucking Hercules did for me. Okay, here's a fucking another one of the actual gameplay that pissed me the fuck off. Is, I will say a little bit about the platforming. I felt like some of the jumping sucked. Like, there were some ledges that you jumped to that was like, oh, I did that one time, and then I couldn't do it again.
Pixel perfect jumping.
But even though most of that worked, and I could get past a lot of it, there was nothing that more pissed me off. I'm like, oh, I see you up there, snake motherfucker. I ain't jumping right up there. I'm going to climb up here on this ladder and try to... Shooting something on that ladder sucked.
Yeah.
Shooting on a ladder was the worst mechanic on there. I don't know. I'm sitting over here just lighting this dude up. And I'm like... It's making like the little... Like, yeah, it's hitting him, but it's not hurting him.
Yeah, it's a little...
And then I pop my head up and then I get hit and I kill him. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So that did piss me off, shooting on ladders.
Yeah. I get that too. That was terrible.
I will say the part where I actually realized there was information on that little screen was when I got to the store. And the store was a mess. There was so much shit in there. And some of that shit I don't think really deserved to be in there.
You could buy everything.
And I'm just like, I don't know. It's like, I felt like I was fucking myself. Like, I'm like, this is just like this damn switch traps up here.
Yeah.
Like, everything on here has got a damn consequence.
Yep.
And I just don't know how I feel about it. So half the time I didn't really know what I did. Like, it would be like, throws an intense beam or throws an intense projectile.
Yeah.
I don't really know what that meant, but it sounded cool.
It sounds like more damage to me.
And I never really knew what I was doing there. I do think probably my worst mechanic of the actual movement, because the movement was kind of weird, is when it says, oh, you found this potion that calls the storekeeper or whatever. The storekeeper walked out. I did not like his animation walking out. For some reason,
it was bad. It was bad.
It reminded me of Roger Clemens' baseball. The dude's walking across the plate.
It was bad.
So I've only got one more thing that's my biggest break it. And it's probably something that nobody else gives two fucks about. So if there's something on your heart, tell me about it.
I'm just going to roll it right back to the storekeeper. The store in general. Is like, when at my first 2 or 3 playthroughs, I tried to do I try to be smart about it, I'm like, oh, look, there's some health. Oh, there's an invulnerability shield. I'm like, dude, I'll buy that shit, And I'm like, okay, I got a little bit more money. Okay, I'm gonna buy some more damage. That's what I'll get more damage. Dude, for the life of me, your shield lasts one time for 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's rough.
That's it. And I'm like, this is some bullshit. So the second time I went through, I just said, fuck it, all damage. So I've never once upgraded health or anything because, for one, like I said, you couldn't really tell what your health was. Your health was a little jar.
Yeah, and...
that was gold fluid?
I don't know what it was.
I want to say it was God juice.
It was gold dust.
Yeah, it could have been. I don't know. Maybe that's how you keep your health in as a Greek Roman, is you huff gold dust.
So when you really pissed another god off and they put a little bit of their gold dust on their hand, they bitch slap.
Yeah, they're willing to
hurt him to do that to you.
Sacrifice some of their life to disgrace you.
I'm just sitting here thinking, this game has got me thinking, I'm like, hey, imagine, like, you got all these shows like The Boys and, like, all the freaking Disney stuff. It's, like The Mandalorian and all that. Imagine if they made, like, a little miniseries like this. It was basically based on the freaking Greek gods or whatever. It'd be probably kind of cool. I don't know. Anything Greek mythology is normally pretty cool anyway.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Even the terrible movie of Percy Jackson.
I never watched that one.
Movies are terrible.
I like the old school Clash of the Titans.
Yeah,
they had the little claymation Pegasus and stuff like that.
That was a solid one.
All right, I've only got one more thing, and I'm going to tell you why it pissed me off. Do you have anything else?
No, I'm good.
Okay, do you know what sound it made when you fell? It was like a little...
No,
it was like a little whistle whimper.
I didn't notice that.
and I can tell you how I noticed it, because I'm sitting down here playing it in the basement. The dogs are out, and I don't have a black lab, I have a fat lab. And she squeaks. And when she gets upset, she's like, ah. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm jumping around, and I hear this, I'm like, God damn, dogs want to come in. So I go out there and look, fucking dogs are asleep under the tree. Like, I must just be hearing stuff. So a few minutes later, I hear the, and I'm like, it's like this whimper whistle. And I'm like, I go back out there and they're still laying down. I'm like, it's a fucking game. When you fall, it makes like this little whimper whistle sound, and I did not fucking like it because it fucked with me every time. I felt like it was my damn dog's wife.
It made Hercules, a god, sound like a little bitch.
That was the worst part, because I'm like, was that the dog or was that the screen? And I'm just sitting there trying to think about it every time.
Trying to figure it out.
And so every time I was about to fall, I'm like, let me listen and make sure that ain't a damn dog, because it will happen right. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
So that was my biggest fucking break-in of it. You got anything else you want to say about it, Joshua?
No, because I didn't. I mean, after I listened to all the sound effects and everything, like the first go around, I muted everything and started listening to my music. So,
all right, I don't have any fun facts for it. I've just got some.
I mean, there could be fun facts if you looked up Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Zeus liked to bang people in animal form, so I mean, that's one of the things. No, he was never a horse, but he was always a goose or something like that. Like some type of bird.
You got goose fucked, huh?
Yeah. Gobble, motherfucker.
Mess with turkey, you get the gobbler.
Yeah.
Alright, so I guess we'll just jump into speedrunning.
Dude, it's going to be something atrocious.
I kind of appreciate the speedrun on here because they basically put it is the Super Nintendo in its own thing. It's Genesis Mega Drive is its own run.
Okay.
And Amiga and the Atari ST, just for you people that are Atari ST fans, which I don't think I've ever seen one in my life.
I haven't.
There's no speedruns for the Atari ST.
Well, whoever has an Atari ST better step it up.
Well, I'm going to tell you, this might be my favorite thing.
Well, hey, dude, if we can beat it on the Atari ST, that's technically a speed run.
Let me look here.
We could be on there.
There is a thing on here that says PSN. Is this on the damn PlayStation Network?
You going to buy it if it is?
Hang on a second.
Developments are happening.
I'm looking this up. I do not think this is on PSN. It says that must be like one of the PC things or whatever. But anyways, there's 5 speedruns for the Super Nintendo.
Okay.
All 5 of them are from different countries. The number 1 is from Germany. The number 2 is from Sweden. The number 3 is from Netherlands. Number 4 is from Norway. And the USA is slumming it up in number 5. So it just blows my mind. There's 5 speedruns. 5 different countries.
I just looked it up, and it's called Fight of the Gods on the PlayStation Store. But then it also says Gods Remastered. And it says it's announced. And I don't know. I mean, that's the screen. It looks like a Spartan helmet.
I'm on Speedrun's website right now. They're talking about the PS4, PS5 version. Somebody has asked 11 months ago, wanting to know if they were allowed to do runs, and they wanted to know the possibility. And next comment says, hell yeah, I'm keen too. And then it got its own category. So I think there is a fucking speed run on a. Oh my god, this opens up a whole new world, right? Put gods with trophies. Fuck, you know. That screenshot you showed me, that is straight up gods.
Yeah.
So I guess another thing I should have mentioned, now I'm thinking of the break-its, is they put this into 4 different stages, and none of the stages was really memorable in any way. So I felt like it was a good effort, but like, oh, the labyrinth. Oh, okay, it's cool you call it labyrinth. It's still the same fucking game.
Yeah, they were all labyrinths. They were all platform labyrinths. There was never one time where I was just running through like, oh, this is the metropolis.
Yeah,
I just walked down the street.
That is it. So the number 5 guy, now 6 months ago was when the number 1 guy set his record. We're going to start at number 5. You tell me what you think the speed run is on this. I just know how long it took me, and that's why it impresses me. So, I mean, it might not be shit for anybody else. But
I'm going to call it 30 minutes. Like 31:53.
On Super Nintendo 3 years ago, number 5 from the USA, Bright Shadow, beat the game in 27 minutes and 40 seconds.
Okay.
I feel like I probably spent 27 minutes on one stage.
Yeah.
Hailing out of Norway. The name is Calerath.
Calareth is what I would go with.
1 year ago, he hammered it. So 5th place was 27 minutes. He came in with 18 minutes, 46
Dear
seconds.
Jesus.
And he's number 4. The Netherlands.
Oh, it's a good name, isn't it?
No, it's just the way I want to pronounce it. I want to call it Linkenmeister.
Linkenmeister.
It's Linka. No, there's no spaces. It's capital L, lowercase INKA. So it's Linka. And no spaces, a capital M, lowercase EISTER. Linka Meister.
Yeah. Meester.
Yeah. 2 years ago, he or she did it in 18 minutes and 2 seconds. The person from Sweden, Roelux, they ran it.
Roulex?
Rolex.
Yeah, I go with that. Roulettes.
Rolex, they did it in 17 minutes and 15 seconds. This guy actually made a comment 6 months ago. Said, I'm the first 17-minute in the world. I had a solid run. It's called Theschizo. Is it the Schizo or the Schizo? I think it's Schizo. I think it's the Schizo.
Yeah, I think it's Schizo.
Hailing from Germany did a run in 16 minutes and 54 seconds.
Oh, shit.
Like, that's pretty fucking impressive.
That's very impressive.
I don't see. There is the 16-minute run sitting there to be watched on speed run. That's there for you. That's 16 minutes on this fucking game. Well, I call it 17. It was 16 minutes, 54 seconds. I don't really know what to say about that. I bet you've played that game 100 times. You know where all the fucking traps are. Like, that's all.
You know how to fly through. You know the perfect combo to buy from the store.
Yes. And you know exactly where it's going to spawn at in that store for you probably to go buy.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like you got to know where the fucking keys are.
Which keys to grab, which little traps to avoid, which levers to pull to unlock the right door.
I think I only have 5 speedruns. I feel like you only play this game if you really love this game. And I can kind of understand if you did love the game.
Yeah, I do too. Like I said, I mean, it wasn't a great game, but it was decent.
You checked enough boxes.
Yeah.
Like if it's 2 out of 3 stars, there was more 2s out of 3s than 1 out of 3.
Yeah.
So we're going to roll this on over into price charting, Josh. What do you think a loose copy of this runs? I only got loose and complete on eBay. I didn't see any new ones.
I shall call it $17.50.
Very close. eBay, I found them roughly about $15.
Okay.
I kind of default in the price charting. They've been more accurate. I've trusted them more, especially on some of these obscure games. $16.87 for a loose copy.
Okay.
What do you think a complete copy runs?
I'm going to call it, let's say, $52.
You're a little bit high.
A little bit high. Okay. Then I'm going to drop it down to $45.
I've roughly seen them for about $45 shipped on eBay. Seen them, price tag says $37.29.
Okay.
Why do you think a new copy of this runs, Josh? Now, I'm defaulting to price charting. They only say that they really track about one sale a year.
I'm going to do my math, and no, I'm going to change my math up a little bit on this one. It's obscure, but it's also got PlayStation Now remastered.
I have a feeling I'm going to play this evening on PlayStation.
Yeah, so I would say a new copy is probably going to be about $75.
A new copy is $119.
$119? I should have said a hundo.
So at the end of the day, let's call this, we'll call it $16 cart. You got $8 or the cartridge. Which you taking?
I'd keep the cart.
You're absolutely correct. The cart is definitely worth that. The cart is every bit of... If you told me I'll give you $16 cash for the cart, I'm probably still keeping the cart.
Yeah.
To be honest, a complete fucking copy, even though I don't think the box is the coolest looking box, for what the game is, a $40 complete. I don't own the game. I don't have it complete by any means. But I'm trying to rationalize, do I want to spend $40 if I can find it? Because I think that's a steal on it.
Especially if you can find one where the box is actually in really good shape.
I mean, to be honest, if you really had the sickness worse than I do and wanted a new one for $120...
That's still not bad.
No, it absolutely is not.
That's still not bad.
So, at the end of the day, I feel like this is one of those games that when I seen it and I never heard of it, it was kind of obscure. I'm like, this is going to be crazy expensive. And I'm like,
again,
it's relatively cheap for a game like this that I've never heard of. And that is fun.
And our first reaction was,
Yeah. I felt like when I looked this up, it was going to be $116 for a loose cart. And I'm like, it is not worth it.
Yeah, no.
And I have no doubt that this is not affected by a PlayStation Network release of this game. I really don't know. Now, I did see that one thing that Bitmap Brothers did is I think they had like a lot of their games. I ain't going to say they sold them. I don't know the proper word, but they had where they were letting other companies release it on like the Game Boy SP or something like that, or Game Boy Advance. So they did have games which, with some of these games that are like Amiga and Atari games, the Game Boy could absolutely handle that. And it's probably, I feel like the screen part would suck. 3DS, I could enjoy this, I think, but like a lot of these games probably would play really good on a freaking Game Boy, to be honest.
Or a Switch.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of sitting here and I don't really know what I'm more impressed by, the gameplay, it just hitting more decent than not, or the price of it. Altogether, I guess we'll kind of come over into the ranking of it, Josh. Obviously, this is episode number 1, so this is our number 1 game. Now,
yeah,
I feel like it was a pretty solid game to start out season 4.
It was a solid one.
This could be in the top 3. You never know. They're against 10 games. Last season was a season of mediocrity.
Yeah.
I feel like if this was last season, this would have probably been in my top game or two. Probably my second place game if I had to bet.
No,
I can't remember what we had.
No, the top games were.
What were they?
Last season. Give me a second. Flipping through paper. Hang on, wait. No, I even took a picture of it. Hold up. It's even better because I didn't put them on that. Let's see here. Picture.
You had King of Dragons. I like this better than King of Dragons. Ooh, pieces. Battle Cars. It was better than Battle Cars. Business Pac-Man. You know how I feel about that.
I do know.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I forgot that was the number 1. You had Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, King of Dragons, RoboCop. It would have been up there.
It would have been up there, but I don't think it would have been in the top. I think it would have been placed appropriately right in the middle.
I don't know about
because I had Power Rangers up top, King of Dragons, RoboCop versus Terminator, Pieces, Battle Cars, Miss Pac-Man, Spider-Man, Mario's Missing Former for Real, and Airstrike Patrol. So, for me, last season, I would have definitely ranked this right there, probably at number 5. I think this would have been right in the dead center, middle of the road.
I think I may have liked this a little bit more than you then. I don't know. I don't know. No, we ain't got to argue about it right now just yet, I guess, because it is number 1. Regardless, what's your initial reaction? I guess instead of just saying we normally compare it to other games each season, saying why we like this better than others, I can just say when we drew it, it's a game I never heard of. When you got a name that's just called Gods, it sounds lazy. And I expected it, and then we say, hey, it's going to be a game that was basically an Amiga game. I had very low hopes for it. The bar was set. For me, extremely low.
Extremely low.
And maybe that's my own fault. And I do think even the box kind of looks a little cheap. And, or a little lazy. But the gameplay itself, it was actually a pretty fun game.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it anyway.
It was a good one. Again, it was a perfect, decent game.
If is it a game that I could beat without a cheat or something? Absolutely not.
Yeah, no, I don't think I could. I mean, okay, hang on. I could, but there would be hours.
I feel like you would have to play this game like at least 2 or 3 times every day at the minimum. Like I feel like if you miss a day on this,
because you got to keep it fresh.
Yes,
you would have to keep it fresh.
It's not as much. It kind of reminds. What's that one they had for that came out that was big on Switch, and of course it came out on every. I think it was like Dead Cells. It kind of had like it wasn't like. Obviously, it's different than Dead Cells, but it was kind of like the same premise. Just shit coming out everywhere. There's puzzles that aren't overly complicated, but there's fuckery involved.
Yeah.
I feel like it could have been like a roguelike almost. I mean, if you would have gave a little bit different, like if you could start out with something more than just a sword, like if that was always constantly respawning, it was always changing, it was always shuffled, then yeah, it would remind me kind of a lot of that. I could see how you could correlate them anyway, but either way, this game wasn't like just world beater for me, and I think even with looking at the price of the game, it makes me like the game more than I did before.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I mean, at the end of the day, I'm completely cool with it. I'd play this. I'd play this again. We're talking about, like, I'm probably going to see if I can find it on the PlayStation Network.
Yeah.
I ain't paying no money for it. Like, by God, it better be free. It better be on a PS Plus collection.
What if it was like $1.99?
No.
No?
No. I would not want to spend $1.99 on the PlayStation. I'd rather spend $15 and buy the cartridge.
Yeah.
I'd have more joy from the cartridge than I would playing it digitally.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so I guess we're really wrapping things up here. You got any predictions for what next week's going to be?
See, and this is what kills me, is it's so early in the season, so we can't really get I can't get a feel for something.
I know what the fuck I'm going to pick. You tell me. You go ahead and go with you. I'm going to go with a game that I own, by the way.
Oh, so you're calling it a single game?
Yes. I know the correlation. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm just going to say a new season. So fresh, new, everything right here. We started out with gods, mythical, legend, lore, Greek. All right.
Are you going RPG style? No, you go. You tell me. I don't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry.
I thought about it. No. I'm going cartoon.
Cartoon. Ooh. You're talking Hercules. It would even be almost Disney cartoon. That is good.
That is good. That's my correlation.
I know there ain't no Hercules game, I don't think, on Super Nintendo. That was after Super Nintendo. I think there's a Hercules game on PlayStation 1. So.
Well, I'm going cartoon.
Cartoon. Okay.
Super Girls and Ghosts.
There is a when I mentioned, hey, what's things that pop up when I say Hercules? You said the cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
You said the movie with The Rock in it.
Yeah,
that sounds horrible.
It's terrible.
The Rock was in a movie called
Hercules.
Was it like live action?
Yes.
Oh my Aaron had to watch this. Then we're talking about, we're talking class. To be honest, movies and TV shows is what comes to mind when you think Hercules.
Okay.
So I'm following that. What else comes to mind? There's actually, if you go back to the old Fox days, there is actually crossover between them.
Okay. I'm interested.
I feel like when you mention Hercules, you got Kevin Sorbo and yay! Xena Warrior Princess is the next game we're going to fucking draw. I've got Xena Warrior Princess.
Okay.
I'll get Lucy Lawless, kind of a butch lady, sexy as hell. I don't know what she looks like now, but I feel like she still is.
She was sexy in there.
Oh, yeah.
Playing Xena.
Yeah. And what was the her partner, the squire? I think it was Gabrielle. I don't know.
Can't remember.
But I was sitting there thinking the other day, it's like, man, I can totally watch all these. I bet they're hot garbage now.
Oh, 100%.
But like, man, they actually did crossovers. It was like one of the first ones that actually was like really good in.
Okay.
And I know for a fact, and I've never played it, but I do have Xena Warrior Princess in there. And when I think Hercules, I think Kevin Sorbo and Hercules, the series, and Xena Warrior Princess. I'm going Xena. Calling my shot.
Okay.
It's all or nothing. And if it is Xena, I will go batshit fucking crazy.
You better start playing the Powerball.
That is it. All right. We're going to leave it right there, brother.
All right.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.